Well, hello everyone. The Ontario Gardener here, back with another episode of Masterplan Tycoon. So, last episode we started setting up some things, and the problem we're having is we're not having enough for the maintenance. Now, is this because we have too many of something? Maybe. But the thing is though, is if we have enough maintenance for one will work. Even though it's not like we need to have enough for 6 machines or 6 buildings to work. No, it'll pick one and it'll work that way. So we are lacking that stuff. But that's okay. And the reason why it's okay is because we can continue on, except we can't because we don't have enough steel beams. But we know we're moving on to windows. Sand mines take bricks, stone, and planks. We have bricks, stone, and planks like crazy. So if you're looking up here, by the way, the things that are at the top left of the screen, this is what you use to build objects. Or build... we actually don't have that connected. That could be a problem. You actually use these are your building blocks, right? You're not going to ever need potatoes to build something. Potatoes and things like moonshine, those are your maintenance items. So basically, you're providing your workers with sausages, moonshine, overalls to produce milk. That's kind of like the way the gist is here. See. Excuse me, same thing with the steakhouse, etc., etc. But now we're going to be moving on to Tier 3 windows. Windows is going to be the next building block. And the next building block is quite a lot more involved. Well, it's harder because it takes longer. But your steel beams are, taking a long time too, so we may have to revisit that. So sand mines, the way they work is you have to place them. You'll see. They are very, like the higher the tier building, the slower it takes to build, by the way. They require what? They require water. They have to extract this from water. Like this. Okay? They don't need water being fed because essentially you're harvesting sand from the beach, right? So it has to work similar to this. So the question is, okay, where are we going to set up our sand mines? Down here probably is a decent location. If I can get it to work there, I guess. We're going to be at a place, I don't know how many we can put down. We can put them as close as we want to, or as close as we can. Maybe we'll start off with I'll just start off with 4, I guess, and just see what happens with that. And again, the trees being here are irrelevant. You just kind of go over top. Guess what? They need what? Nothing, because they're within range of maintenance, so we're fine with that. So the sand actually produces quite. Remember, we also have the we don't have the 10% boost on these because these are not plantations or crops. They are sand like water and fish. They're a non-renewable resource in a sense, because waters, they're non-renewable, so you don't actually have it this way. But so far we're doing good with maintenance. Eventually this will fill up or run out, and eventually this will also fill up. Right now we're going to be pulling sand, which again, we go up to 125, so sometimes it might not work out to actually have that bonus, this one here where it's bigger, because you might run into trouble because your buildings can't keep up with it. But so far we're doing fine here. Sands, they just mine as they mine. That's basically how it works. And then we have to get into doing glass makers, which just takes the sand and turns it into glass. So this is basically a 1-to-1. So theoretically, we could just run all these into each other, but for me, it's easier to run a 1, 2, 3, 4. That might be a little bit too close. We could probably push this back a little. Oh, no, I think we'll be okay here. And like I said, this is a 1-to-1. So if we go back into here, basically sand is 1 every 30 seconds. This takes 1 every 30 seconds, gives you 1 glass every 30 seconds. So what we're going to do is we're going to dump. If I can click on this, thank you. We're going to dump this glass into here. And then we got to get into making window makers. And the problem with that is they need what? They need steel beams. They need steel beams, and that is the problem because we don't have any steel beams. So I think what we got to do is we got to go back into our steel. Where's the steel steelworks? And we have to figure out, why do we not have enough steel beams? Let's go back and look. What's broken? Wow. Everything's broken. Everything's broken because we have no overalls. And why don't we have overalls? Everything's going to be needing overalls. They need beer. Where are we making overalls at, for one? Let's find out where we're making those. Right here. The reason why overalls aren't working are because we need beer. And where are we making beer at again? Beer is being made, I think, right here. And what's the problem? Why are we not making beer? Well, I think because we need... Ooh, is it a grain shortage? I want to find out... Right now with the shortages, let's see when this ticks over. It's not grain, it's not water. Could it be maintenance? It could be maintenance. Let's see. It is, it's fish. Of all things, it's fish is what we're lacking. So what we can actually do is we can pull this all the way down here, go back into our tier 0, and start putting some fisheries in. Let's see, we can put 1, 2, 3 is not a lot, but is more than none. It may be enough to tick over what we need. That's not going to fit, I don't think, will it? Just push this up a little, slightly bit higher. All right, that's a little bit more fish. Is this going to be enough fish? Let's see. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it will be enough fish, but we can push this over to here. Now, I wonder if we can put a fishery right here. We can put one. One's more than none. That'll open this, make this go 20, a little bit faster. Are we doing, okay, now we're going up on fish. So now everything still has a trickle-down effect, right? And the issue is still steel beams. It's not steel. Well, it's steel as well. And the thing is, though, is these run in the background as you're in your master or whatever. They do run in the background, which is why we kind of ran out of things. But we're doing okay. Right now, steel, the issue is overalls. Overalls, the issue is beer, and now we upped our beer production. And right now, it's just a lack of grain, which is funny enough because now we need grain. And we're producing grain where? Are we pulling grain in from our other location? We are not. We're bringing in bread from our other location. How are we doing with bread, by the way? Do we have tons of bread right now? I wonder if we could actually turn bread off. Let's turn 2 of these off. Yeah, sometimes there's a bit of the visual glitches here. So that's on off, and they're in the red because they're turned off. So let's just see, how's bread going to do now? It should be okay. It should be okay. So everything's trickled down. But again, we need grain. And the problem is we're not really... Are we producing any grain on this map? We are, but not a lot. And I think the reason is because things are too close together. Well, no. I think if we get rid of this one and we get rid of this one, I think that may help this out a bit. But I think we may also have a couple too many in here. So let's just get rid of this one. And I want to get rid of, let's say, this one. And let's just see what happens. Because now there'll be more space. We need to have planting happening on everyone, by the way, as well, I think we do. So we can space this out a little bit, space it out a little bit, space it out a little bit. Leave this one here. Everyone's going to be on planting and harvesting. I think I made the decision to do that now. And we'll do something like this. And that should work a little bit better, I would hope. Because grain's coming in. How are we doing with grain? It's still at 0, but that's okay because everything else is going up. And everything else is kind of working. The iron mine, overall, things are working. Slowly, but surely. Yeah, overalls are the problem. So like I said, we got to go back here and figure out, okay, where are we making overalls? Why we're not working? Because of beer. Beer's not working because of what? Grain. In grain, we're making more grain now. We're making a lot of meal. Do we need to make this much meal? I don't think so. How are we doing on... Actually, we could just let it on. The question is, do we have any other space to make grain? That's the problem, and the answer is no. But this will catch up, kind of in a... Well, not that it'll catch up, but it will be helpful going forward. I think we can probably put a couple farms in here, maybe 3 more. That might help a little bit, maybe. It's not going to hurt, put it that way. We got some grainy, and we got some grainy. And can I push this down a little bit more? I can. All right, we're doing both. All right, well, hopefully this helps our grain situation because everything else is okay. Beer's not, but again, the problem here is just steel beams. Because iron's not coming in, so we have no overalls. There's no overalls because there's no beer. There's no beer because there's no grain. But things will catch up. Trust me. Things will catch up here at some point. Now, the other thing is we are actually pulling steel into here. How are we doing on steel down here? We actually have tons of steel. So the issue isn't the steel. The issue is the actual maintenance. So this is fine. We'll go back to our main area right now. And we can continue on. We got to go to window makers. And everything's being held up because of what we need. We don't have vests. Are we not making vests somewhere? I swear we are making a few vests, aren't we? Yes, it's not working because of overalls. So everything trickles back to the stinking grain, doesn't it? No, grain, we're producing a decent amount of grain. But what I actually want to do is I want to get rid of this one, move these 2 up here, get rid of this one, and I want to get rid of this one, I think. And then just space these out a little bit more, get rid of this one, space these out a little bit better, something like that, and then have everyone do both things. But I think is what we're doing now anyway. Now we're going to plant. Rain is good for the crops, that's for down, sure. All right, this is fine now. We're going to do it like this. This should also help the grain as well, because we are producing 10% faster. With the grain, with the rain, it's a little bit faster, but we need, still, it's 1 minute. It's 30 seconds, which is so slow. Now, window makers, can we make any window makers? I don't believe we can, because we don't have enough steel beams. So what we got to do is we have to just try to figure out, okay, how to make steel beams. Well, we need what? Overalls. We need vests. We need all that stuff. And that all trickles down to what? Clothing. And that all trickles down to what? Well, here we need overalls. Overalls are being made here because we don't have clothing. Why don't we have clothing? We're making tons of clothing because we have no fish. Now we have no fish. And how are we doing with fish? Fish is going like crazy right now. Fish is a tier 0. We have no fish. We have no fish on our island. So guess what we got to do? We need to get fish made. Or not made, but fish going. I think over here is as good a place as any. So remember, everything's a trickle down. And even these basic things in the beginning of the game really, play a lot as you go through the game. So we're just going to put tons of fisheries down because fisheries don't actually require anything. They just don't require anything, which is a good thing. And what we'll do is let's build 2 of these, I think, which will probably be sufficient. And then start pumping fish. Because fish is 1 every 30 seconds. So right now we're doing 4, 5. I'm going to do that one there. 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's try to do an even 10 up here. So we have 10 fish every 30 seconds. So basically we're producing 1 fish every 3 seconds. Now look at the fish going up. This is exactly what you got to do, guys, sometimes. Can we fit this any tighter? We cannot. This one can probably go quite a bit tighter. Except not that tight. There we go. Now our fish is through the roof. Now we got to start going into other things. Grain is still a problem. So I think what I'm going to even do is, like, the buildings, they all go back to their basics. And, we have no steel beams because we're not pushing enough things through to the other side because they're overalls, whatever else. Let's just make sure we are actually pushing enough things into the steel mission that they're asking for. We are pushing everything into it. So what we're going to do is we're going to come all over here. Like, grain's working out, but guess what? We need more grain because grain is still suffering. So we're going to come down here. We're going to do a lot more grain. Hopefully we have enough space to do more of this. I think we do. We actually want to set up a whole nother grain column. And I can probably even do it in between these 2 things. And again, it goes back to kind of like the basics of the game sometimes, guys. So we're going to do 1 here. We're going to do 1 like this. That. This. Trying to think the spacing and that, and we'll do that. I think that spacing is good. This one might be 1 too many out. I want to be able to have 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks in the middle, and that's exactly what we want to have. And we'll pump all this into, actually, let's just pump these into 2 different ones. Oh, we don't actually have enough. I only have 7, but that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, we only have 6, but 6 is more than 0. We could actually probably even pull this down here and put down a couple more if we wanted to, which I think we do want to, something like that. That'll be helpful. And I want to actually take this one, pump that one up to there, move this down to here, something like that. Push this to here and push this to here, and we're doing everything, Okay, now how's grain doing? Grain is still really slow, which, it's going up now. It's slowly but surely. So as things keep being built up and built up and built up, we'll be okay here. Or be better with the grain. We could probably even stick a couple. In here, really. 1, 2, 3, and then we could put 4, and we'll just space these out a bit differently. This can go over here. Let's just put this one up. Put everyone up 1. I think would be fine. Something like that. That'll fit. There won't fit this way, so let's push this down and push that down 1. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Perfecto. Now we're producing a lot more grain. And again, grain, like farming, grain, trees, wells, fish, basically all your tier 0, these, fish, water, wood, and stone, grain, even, they require no resources to function, except your fish and water, which are very easy, but they don't require anything to be pushed into them. So now our grain is through the roof, which is great. Now it means clothing's going up, which should also mean that overalls are going up. Well, eventually they'll start going up. And everything's a trickle down. So we actually are doing very well by doing something like this. We have tons of cow milk, or cows and milk. These aren't working because we need vests. Vests are not working. Well, not there. This isn't working because why? We have no overalls. Overalls are being made where? Where are we making overalls at, by the way? I always forget where we're making overalls. Moonshine. Here, overalls. And overalls aren't working because we have no beer. And beer is being made over here. And the issue with the beer is nothing, apparently. It looks like it's just speed. So what that means is we need to start making beer elsewhere. And I think we could probably do it right here, really. So let's go back to beer. And because we have all the generic basic ingredients, it's fine to kind of 1, 2, 3. I'd love to fit 5. I can't fit 5. Okay, we can fit 5 if we push one of these up this way, push it up, 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 and we're gonna do a brewery again, and that should go right there. Perfect. And then we'll put this one over. Nope. Over. Yeah. There we go. So we're gonna pump everything or pull everything from this storage unit. There's no reason not to. Honestly, there's no reason not to do this. There, and this is going to be pumping out like crazy. Again, this needs fish and water, which is very, very easy. All right, now we got more beer coming in, and that's exactly what we want. There we go, more beer coming in. How's our beer? All right, so tier 0. Everything's looking pretty good here. Grains up. Beer's going to eventually start going up. Yes, it's going up and staying stagnant. Wool's going to go up. You know, they're staying hovering, and that's a good thing. Grain's still doing good. Oh, grain's actually, we're going to need more water too, by the way. Grain's doing okay. Yeah, grain's doing great. Here we're going up. Overalls are starting to be made. Starting. And all that's going to have a trickle up effect. Everything else is full. So right now the issue is overalls. Sand is not a problem. So right now, yeah, it's wool. So now we need more wool. Look at that. Now we need more wool. And we get wool from what? We get wool from a sheep farm, right? Where are our sheep farms? Our sheep farms are here and here and here. So what is the slowdown here? I think it's just we just don't have a lot of them. So guess what we got to do? We have wool coming in very slowly. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to go over here again. I should move all this down. And we're going to go to our kind of production area here with our farms. And I think we want to set up a sheep farm. I'm going to get rid of all of this because you don't need this here. And basically just move it, and it'll delete stuff that's around here. And that's exactly what we want. I don't care about any of this stuff at the moment. It doesn't matter. Okay, now we're gonna get more sheep going. Why? Because we need sheep. We have sewing workshops. We just need more sheep. I'm gonna do maybe 4 spaces in between, because sheep farms are actually pretty slow as well, which is also not the greatest for them. And I can probably even put one here, maybe even put one there. I don't know if that'll reach across or not, but we got wool coming in now, which is good. Man, that's gonna be too close, obviously. So we push this back a bit. This could go probably to here and then to here. One more over, probably. Perfect. All right, good. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 7 more sheep farms, which is working out very, very well for us. Now look at our wool. Wool's going up. It's going up greatly. Clothing will start going up. Beers now, like it's all trickle. It's all a trickle. Sheep farms take, like, so your production buildings take fish and water, basically. Your kind of renewable resources, and there we go. So we're doing okay. The problem still is steel beams. And now, why are we still lacking steel beams? Well, let's go back and take a look why we're lacking steel beams. And it got to be because of maintenance somewhere, right? So steel beams are going to be here. Overalls are the problem. Overalls are the problem. What's the problem here? Meal and water. So we actually can turn these probably back on. They're red. I think it's just because it's a bit of a visual glitch that they're red. Because if I go in here and then I move one, it goes away. So like that. So what are we lacking now? We're lacking overalls. And what's our overall problem? What's our overall problem with overalls? We need bread. Why we have no bread? Are we not pulling bread in from the other location as well? We should be pulling it in as well, but we are pulling it in. But do we need to make bread on site? That was one of the things I said about, do we need bread on site? Looks like we are producing bread right now. We're producing meal. Looks like everything should be hunky-dory. They take fish and water. Not a problem. How's our fish and water doing? Fish and water is doing great. Grain is still the problem. Wow, that's amazing. But the other thing that's amazing is we have a lot of, we're producing tons of grain right now, honestly. Like tons of grain. So I might just be able to turn one of these off and to turn that one off and maybe turn this one off in planting and maybe this one and just see probably this one maybe. Is this one off? No, this one. Turn this one planting off. Let's see if it goes any faster. But things are working. See, this moonshine's working again. The overalls are up here. They're working slightly again. Let's see what happens when the maintenance runs out. Does it tick over or does it wait? Bread's a little bit slow still, but we're gaining on bread. So it's not even speed. It's just making bread now, and the bread is because of the grain, and the grain is because of, well, we don't have grain. But well, it's because of meal, but meal is not the issue. Well, it's grain and meal. So, but we're good here. Bread, yeah, it's, we're okay. We're okay here. Do we have any more steel beams being pushed through? It looks like we do actually have steel beams being pushed through now. Let's go back to the steel, well, back to the master, and let's look how many steel beams do we have now. We have 21. Get some. We have 21 steel beams, and that's exactly what we need because we got to go over to, where are we making our sand? Oh, sand's being made right here. Oh, I'm so silly. So this is all backed up, obviously, which is good. Now we got to get into making windows. Windows are... Well, windows are windows. Basically, windows take 16 steel bars. So we are producing steel again. It's kind of just back and forth, slowly, fast, slow, fast. As you keep going, it's going to be harder and harder and harder because everything trickles down in what it needs. But we have one coming in, so I can't complain too. I just want to like put this here just to block this thing, block that away. Now we have windows coming in, and windows can go right to here. And we're making windows. It's 2 every tick. And we have a bit of a stockpile of trees and glass right now. So glass stockpile is what? We have tons of glass, and then we should have tons of trees. Looks like we're out of water too again, which is a big pain in the socks. Let's come down here and let's just load up another water factory here. Basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, another 6. Water factory. I call them water factories. They're not water factories, water wells, but everything takes water. Like your basic production buildings take water, and water doesn't take anything. Water just gives you water. Now this should start going up. Perfect. So how are we doing windows? Windows, now we need vests. And everything's a trickle down from vests because vests are being made. Where are we making vests at? I think we're making vests somewhere. One vest. Right here, making vests because we need overalls. And everything trickles down to something. Overalls, again, trickle down to what? Overalls we need because of clothing, and we're not getting clothing because why? Well, we're not getting cotton. Clothing is just, it's just speed. We have enough of everything else. It's just the speed. Plus that one's not hooked up, which is a problem. So we actually have tons of wool. How are we doing on wool? We have tons of wool, and we have what takes. So we have tons of wool. So wool is not the problem. Like we have tons of wool. Wow, relatively tons of wool. So maybe we just need to make a couple more sewing workshops. Maybe put a couple more in here. Everything trickles down. But we have a couple windows. We need to make 2 more windows. That's what we need to do. So I think what we'll do is we'll do a little bit more this episode. We'll do a couple clothing factories, or they're called sewing workshops. Do a few more of those. These can go real tight to each other. Let's do 3. Let's just do 4. I think 4 is a good number. Put this right about here. There we go. All right, that's going to go to here. That's going to go here. It'll all trickle down, Wool. We're going to go to here. Oh, guess what? We hit our 10 windows. We hit our 10. I'm going to go. This game is pretty resource heavy on your computer too, by the way. So now we're producing windows slowly, but we are producing windows right here, which is great. We're producing more steel beams. Tier 4 is what? Cattle farm, red pepper farm, cannery. This is going to lead us into the limestone mission as well as the port mission up here because we need cotton for that. But the thing is, we're actually using up a lot of our space, but we have this whole map. We have to be careful about the copper mission, which you actually probably just dump one of these here for now anyway. And then we have all this space up here, thankfully, and then this is a little island. Eventually, we're going to have to get into here. I'm pretty sure that's why this is like this. But is there any more upgrades we can do? The answer is no, because this would light up. I think after this next one we could, or maybe when you do something better. How are we doing on fish? Fish and water are back up to snuff. So I'm actually going to dump one of these here as well because we're going to have to pull from here. So we're doing good here. The next things are going to be, guess what? We're going to be into tier 4. Look at all the tier 4 materials. Canned food. So we have a canned factory, so that's at least a good thing. They require cattle farm, red pepper farm, wine, So sand, we have glass. We have tons of glass. So this part's done. A vineyard or vineyard, however you want to say it. Boots, we have steakhouse. We need to make a boot factory, but this is the problem here. Leather. Rope, cotton, rope. We have a lot of cotton, or semi a lot of cotton. Rope workshop. Sails are made from cotton plantation. So cotton and rope workshop makes sails, or a sail maker. And then we have anchors, and anchors are for a furnace, steel works, anchor workshop. So basically we need steel beams for that. And the problem with that is that, steel beams, which they are counting up slowly, but they are counting up, and they take steel beams to make. Luckily they don't take steel beams as a resource, but they do take steel beams to make. So we have a lot of things to make here. We have, 3 buildings here. We have 2 buildings here. We have a building here. That's 5, 6, 7, 8 buildings. We have to kind of figure out. We might just do 1 and 1 and 1 instead of ramping this up too fast, because that might be our issue as well. So we may have to start going back and deleting some of these until we have a constant stockpile, because here we have so many buildings. We have no bread. Where's all of our bread going? I don't know. It's going somewhere. What is the issue with bread, by the way? Bread is being made. Bread should be a yellow building. So what's the problem with bread right now? Is it maintenance again? No. It's, well, meal. Kind of with meal. It's kind of meal. But it's not terrible, honestly, with it, right? It's not too bad. Let's see. Yeah, now it's okay. It's just speed, it looks like. So guess what? We have to probably make another bakery, a few more bakeries. And like, this is what the game turns into if you want to kind of do things not quickly, but, ramp. Overalls are still a problem, and the overalls are a problem because why? Overalls are being made here, and the issue is now the issue is maintenance. It's not imported materials, it's now maintenance materials, which is bread. And it looks like we just don't have enough bread. So guess what that means? We got to make some more bread. And what happens if we make more bread? You know what's going to happen, right? We are going to run out of something else. So let's just do 4 more bread. Do 4 breads. We can probably, we'll pull it from this because I have one here, and we're going to push it out to here. And those are not lined up at all. I'm going to pull this one down. All right, let's do bread. Did bread. Now remember, we're probably going to run out of resources doing something else now with this. But that's okay. It's okay to kind of just, sometimes it's better to maybe just put 1 of each building and just roll with that. But, we just need to go faster. Faster is the issue. Fast. Here we have meal coming in. Here we have bread coming in, which means this should start working again, which means this should start working again. This is working again. This is working again. So guess what? Oh, what are we lacking now? Nothing. So we're good now. Okay, guys, look at the windows we have stockpiled. Windows are good because of vests. Vests are because of clothes. Clothes because of overalls and cotton. But we're doing okay. This is really slow, by the way, because you're producing 2 things from 1 plot. I think it's okay, though, right? Like, it doesn't look like it's waiting for anything. I just want to see what happens when this ticks down. Is this a slowdown? Is this a problem? Or is it just this? Yeah, so what I want to do is I want to pull these down a bit more so we can have a little bit more space for each thing. Something like that, I think, is going to be pretty good. And then this one we can go up 1. This one we can't really. Let's just put these close together. They'll pull from here. So that should help out with that. But guys, we're going to end the episode here. We're doing okay. Steel and windows are going up slowly, but they are going up. And that's kind of the key here. And I think going on from here on out, when we start making tier 4, we got to do like 1 or 2 buildings each based on like maintenance is the big thing. If you have 1 of each build, like if you have this one going to this one, or 2 going to 1, or whatever, it'll go very, very slowly, but it won't take your resources. So that's the thing, is you ramp up production, and you have to ramp everything. Like right now, grain is like nuts. Grain is through the roof. We have 137 out of 140 out of 125. Grain is just insane right now, so we're fine on grain, which is good. All right, guys. We're going to end it here. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you enjoyed the episode, please consider leaving me a like as well as a comment. Would be much appreciated. And if you're enjoying this series or any other video on my channel, hit that subscribe button. Tick the bell notification icon so you don't miss any future episodes. Also in the description below, The Ontario Outdoorsman, my second YouTube channel. If you'd be so kind to click on the link and leave me a subscribe. Trying to hit 100 by the end of the month and 1,000 by the end of the year would be great. All right, guys. Thanks so much, and I'll catch you next time.